The secrecy that surrounds this issue is so extraordinary that most presidents are not briefed on it, and if they're briefed in a way that is perfunctory and very, very limited and designed to control their actions. It's not the 1%, it's the 0.0000001% who would not benefit from this because they are the ones sitting atop the petrodollar system, the macroeconomic order. For the most part, presidents since Eisenhower have not had appropriate access control. Now, what I mean access control? This means not only access to the program, but control over them. And people need to make, at the very beginning, a very clear understanding between knowing and being able to do anything about it. So every single president has been interested in this. Famously, Jimmy Carter, as he was the president-elect, asked the outgoing CIA director, George Bush Sr., to brief him on this issue, and President-elect Carter was told by then outgoing CIA Director Bush that he would not tell him about this issue, and he didn't say he didn't have information. He said, "I will not share that with you," and directed him to get it from the Congressional Research Service. Believe it or not, saying that to the incoming President of the United States. This is well documented in Disclosure Project witness testimony from people who were privy to what happened.
One of the discoveries that emerged out of modern quantum theory is that so-called empty space isn't really empty at all. It's actually full of energy. So instead of being like kind of a quiet, empty lake, it's more like the froth at the base of a waterfall or something. And this energy is basically electromagnetic in nature, and the energy density is quite high. There's enough energy in the volume of a coffee cup to, say, evaporate all the world's oceans if you could get it all of it. There's enough energy in the volume of a coffee cup to, say, evaporate all the world's oceans.
We have the giant industrial, or really economic cartels in energy. And it's not one cartel, there are many, many groups in energy, and each of those has become very powerful in its own area, and each one does not wish to see simple little electrical taps pulling out enormous energy from the vacuum. They would much rather see you burning a lot more oil and so forth.
The secret behind these UFO propulsion systems and energy systems would give us an entirely new planet, beautiful. But there are stakeholders who are very, very powerful who aren't happy about that. Now, many people have asked me, given the folks I've met with over the years, why doesn't someone do that? Here's a mistake many people have made. They come up with one of these systems, maybe it's a prototype that's only putting out 100 watts of, quote, free energy that's coming from the vacuum, 10 watts going in and 100 watts coming out. And they get approached by someone who says, "Oh, well, work with me and we're a VC group and here's $50 million for a startup." Guess what? Those folks are either shilling, they're fronting for the intelligence community, or they're sincere, but then someone comes in later with $5 billion and buys them out. I met with such a man not long ago at my home in Virginia, out at our farm, and he says, "Oh yeah, well, you know, $50 million wouldn't be a problem, but I would want to have control over the corporation and the technology." I said, "I don't think that's really a good idea. Have you ever gone mano a mano with the national security state?" He says, "No, but I've done lots of, apps and, stuff." And, he thought this was like coming out with a new iPhone app. And I said, "Well, the problem with that is, let me just ask you a question. If you put $50 million into that research and development program and came out with a prototype of something that would run people's homes, take them off the grid, self-sufficiency, lift the third world out of poverty in 3-4 years, 5 years at the most. But someone offered you $5 billion for your $50 million funding. What would you do?" He says, "I'm a businessman. I would sell." I said, "No, you're a money whore. And you have just sold out the future of the world to another front organization that's going to bury it." Now, there's a term for this in our community that I use called black shelving. Black shelving means a corporate interest will buy up a technology because it is a threat to other horizontally and vertically integrated parts of their corporate structure. and just put it on a black shelf and keep it there.